Now we hear the African National Congress plans to hold a protest march in Krugersdorp following the week's robbery and gang rape of 8 members of a film crew in the Krugersdorp area of West Village. The party wants illegal mining in the area closed down. This comes after police and illegal miners exchanged gunfire earlier today during a law enforcement operation in the area. The organization's national spokesperson, Pule Mabe, joins us now to outline their plan of action. Pule, good evening, and thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure you're still finalizing your final report around the policy conference, but of course there's a whole lot more that's happening in the country that is a little bit more urgent, that requires some attention. It always boggles the mind of South Africans whenever the ANC is going to picket against the ANC. It's just something to many that is disingenuous about that act, as opposed to simply calling Gwede Mantashe and say, Minister, deal with this thing of illegal mining, or in fact you should be dealing with it already.
Well, evening, Tabo, and evening to your viewers. The African National Congress often prides itself as being a leader of society. What that means is that the ANC must be seen and be found to be leading popular campaigns in society, including the mobilization of the rest of South Africa's people around issues of concern. We've got an issue here of zama-zamas, of illegal immigrants, bizarre, of rape. Now, we are not going to say, let us allow our ministers to attend to this. Remember, Thabo, we came into power out of a popular vote of the people of South Africa. Yeah. The things they raise as concerns, because the ANC lives in communities. We're not going to fold our arms and say, let's wait for government. It doesn't work like that. It must be the ANC that is seen to be leading those campaigns. Actually, when the ANC leads those campaigns, it is even able to direct a constructive narrative on what needs to be done. Look at what we did. On the sidelines of the 6th National Policy Conference, we're there to address members of the media together with Comrade Beki Cele, who's also the Minister of Police, because we wanted them to give feedback and update on the work that they are doing. Interestingly, he was able to confirm the arrests that have been made. Yeah. And these arrests really included an array of issues. Others were illegal immigrants whose status is still being investigated by the relevant authorities to establish and ascertain that they are in the country legally. They are supposed to be here legitimately. Yes. So this shows you the level at which the ANC takes its role serious as a leader of society.
As you say, I mean, a majority of people voted for the African National Congress, particularly because they want the African National Congress to apply its policies and the regulations and the laws of this country, not for the African National Congress. I mean, you can be caught on the picket lines for other things, but not for things that you are able to actually do something about.
But Thabo, we are going to join the picket line at the Krugersdorp Magistrate Court. It is not government that is going to court. Yeah. No, it is these zama-zamas that are going to court. It is these people who are accused of rape. It is these people who are accused of being illegal immigrants. Are you saying that we must wait for ministers to attend to these things? When our communities in Kagiso, in Krugersdorp, in Western area, in Manseville, are demanding of the ANC to provide this kind of leadership? We cannot renege from our own.
I'm saying that this is something that the ANC government should have been dealing with already. You've been seized with this thing of, are you waking up today to say, oh, there are illegal immigrants in the country?
Well, I can tell you now that our government is working on these things and all of that. And because I'm not a government spokesperson, I'm sure that government spokespersons, when they speak, they will be able to give feedback and update on the work that they are doing. Yeah. The ANC must still put pressure even on its own government to act with the necessary speed. We have got to do that. We can't fold our arms and say, no, because we are in government, let's go and talk about these things in the National Executive Committee meeting of the ANC. Yeah. When people who have committed horrendous crimes are going to court, we must mobilize our structures to join the picket line. Yeah. Show society that we're a caring organization. Yeah. Cannot renege from that role.
What has the ANC been doing around the snail pace of dealing with illegal mining, or at least the formalization and the establishing of artisanal mining as an economic activity?
In fact, you took my words out. I wanted to actually give that update, that there has already been work that the Minister of Mining has been doing and around artisanal mining, making sure that you actually turn these zamazamas that are legal in the country and all of that, even some that are citizens of this country, make them artisanal miners. And that work, that program is already underway. It's happening in the northwest, in the area of Krugersdorp. It's also happening in the area of Rustenburg and in other parts of the country, including in the Northern Cape. So when we say snail pace, we ought to also say what kind of progress has been made. Push government to act with the necessary speed. It is not necessarily South African zamazamas or those that have been converted into artisanal miners who are actually doing these activities.
Yeah.
It is foreign nationals who are in the country illegally, undocumented, committing horrendous crimes.
Yeah.
Look at what happened in Krugersdorp over the weekend.
Yeah.
We cannot fold our arms. These chaps are appearing in court. We need to be seen putting pressure on magistrate courts, on the police, to make sure that they get a sentence that send a message even to others that might be tempted to do such things, that South Africa is not a playground.
Yeah.
Cannot allow our country to be... I mean, you have seen some of the pictures that are doing rounds on social media.
Yeah.
People clearly undermining the sovereignty of a republic.
Yeah.
We can't leave that. We can't leave that to chance. They will not do it in their own countries.
Yeah.
Why do they think that here in South Africa they can come and just play as they wish? We can't allow that.
Part of the challenge and the problem that people might raise, for example, and I will raise this in this way. Some of the leadership of the ANC has got shares in mines. It's a known fact. It's public knowledge.
Yes.
Right? And some of these mines conduct activities in particular areas, and they leave those areas unrehabilitated, which makes a way for these illegal miners.
Well, Thabo, the DMR has got a standard policy. Even before you start mining,
Yeah.
you have got to put forward rehabilitation guarantees.
Guarantees, yes.
When you conclude mining, you are then expected to execute a rehabilitation plan.
Yeah.
These things are clearly out there. Those that are known, if there are people you know who have left mines unrehabilitated,
Yeah.
they need to be
This
exposed.
particular mine has been left unrehabilitated.
We need to then expose and say, these are the people that were involved in this mine. They did not have a clear rehabilitation plan, so that they are either fined or they are even removed from future ownership of any other mine, because they might continue applying for licenses and all of that. This must be something that the Department of Mineral Resources takes seriously.
Yeah.
They've got to do an audit. I mean, the little I know is that in the mining space, all the time, inspectors are sent to go and make sure that people adhere to their environmental obligations. Before you start mining, there must be some environmental authorization that is done. There's got to be plans that are put forward, your own mining plan,
Yeah.
that tells how you're going to rehabilitate the area post your mining activities. If you don't do that, you'll be in contravention with your own licensing conditions.
So what are you saying then as the ANC, as you're saying, get rid of illegal mining, around the enforcement of that? Because what we do know is that some of these mining companies, in fact, those stakeholders who are in the space that we've spoken to since Sunday, are saying they actually is no enforcement of, for example, that people need to pay those guarantees. And people get away with that.
My little knowledge is that you can't start mining without putting forward the rehabilitation guarantees. You can't. I mean, the Treasury sits with those kind of guarantees. Maybe the conversation, and we even have got the state-owned mining company.
Yeah.
The conversation that we need to be having is that what becomes the role of the state-owned mining company on abandoned dams? Shouldn't the state use that muscle of a state-owned mining company to partner with communities to make sure that some activities could be done using the guarantees that would have been left with the Treasury? Because clearly, if they don't do those activities, they will not be able to go and claim back those guarantees.
Yeah.
They can only claim those guarantees upon them showing that they have fulfilled all of the obligations, including the plans that they put forward before they undertook
So
the activities.
how do you explain the abandoned mine in Krugersdorp? There are abandoned mines in Ekurhuleni there, where there's always exchange of gunfire with police. If indeed we have to take what you're saying as it is in place, it's a regulation, it's a requirement, how do we have those mines?
That's why one is putting a point forward that institutions like which are SOEs, like your Council for Geoscience, the state-owned mining company, and all other SOEs under DMR that have got to deal with all of these issues, they need to really be seized with this matter, and I'm sure that they are. Even in the police, South African Police Service, they need to also make sure that special units are also empowered to be able to look into this. For instance, the Department of Environmental Affairs has got something called green scorpions. So, and these green scorpions really look at people or companies being compliant with environmental issues.
Yeah.
We need to then say, because rehabilitation is an environmental issue, we need to then say, how do we bring these institutions together to work on? And I'm sure that I'm confident that our government has got a plan like that.
Yeah.
You know, all we need to, all maybe we should say on the positive side is that more updates have got to be given to the public on the progress that is being made around those, because it is not just these illegal mines don't just become in one sense. They also become a huge environmental issue. They leave people with disease, syphilis, and all of that. I mean, trust me, I was born and bred in a mining town. So I know what happens if mines are not attended
We're going to expand on that as well with the next bit in just a moment, the other effects of leaving these mines unattended to. But did you reflect on this issue of, I know in the quick briefing highlights, Mahlobo did mention the issue of the porous borders, and he applauded the guards that have just been released there, and so on and so forth. Is there concern around this issue of guns that are in the country that we have at least been seeing in the last couple of incidents?
Well, actually, when we gave a briefing on social transformation as well as a briefing on peace and stability, we did highlight on the issue of gun control that the ANC, we are quite clear on our policy recommendations to the 55th National Conference that we ought to look at regulations around the licensing of guns. An audit has got to be done on how many guns are really in circulation and in which areas are they concentrated. Because we are being told almost daily when we listen to police briefings around police that are sometimes hijacked, their guns are stolen, and then used by criminals to commit some of these horrendous crimes. We need to do that kind of an audit. And once we are clear on that, work has got to be done to expose those that have got guns illegally. We've got to know how many of these guns are here in the country. We've got to also act against whether it's illegal immigrants or South Africans who are using guns illegally to commit crimes that we're seeing in taverns and all of that. It cannot be that you wake up one day, suddenly there are mass shootings in taverns. I mean, the other day we went with the Treasurer General to Alexander to go and convey our condolences to those families that had lost their loved ones because of some people who just decided to just go on a random shooting. We are as concerned because if a country cannot come out to protecting its own citizens, what gets to be undermined is the ability to attract investment in the country. Because investors who assist us to drive economic growth, to reconstruct our own economy, to recover our own economy, need to have confidence that where they are investing, they are laws in that country. That country is safe. It's a good space to work. When our, whether it's our wives, our daughters, our families, our brothers, when they go out to the malls, when they go out to places of entertainment, they've got to feel that they are safe in the country. So we have emphasized this even through the policies that we put forward at this National Policy Conference. And members of the ANC were quite united on actions that need to be taken. I mean, we must also just commend the province of Gauteng. They had their own day of prayer. Just last week dealing with this, now beginning to even mobilize faith-based organizations. Now, this is an ANC in action. Going to join the picket line tomorrow, again, is the work of the ANC in action.
Pule Mabe, appreciate your time and thank you very much for coming in this evening.
No, thanks.
That is the spokesperson of the African National Congress, Pule Mabe, there joining us to outline why they'll be picketing tomorrow outside the Krugersdorp Magistrates Court. Coming up next.